ready to move on to the next project. And if you're not allowed to move on to this next project until you finish the ones that are pinch pots, okay? So we're going to start the exposed coil pottery project, and your goal is to create using only like exposed coils. So what Miss Pinkerton has here, she and I kind of worked together to create this little masterpiece here over prep. So Miss Pinkerton and I created that together, and we've got some other little coils set up for you, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But first I'm going to read you the project description. You're to create a vessel that uses exposed coil technique to emphasize expressive line throughout the form of the vessel. What do you think I mean by expressive line?
Expressing yourself.
Expressing yourself. Maybe. Expressive line, like if a line is boring, what do you think a boring line would be? Or a not expressive line?
Just a straight line.
Straight, exactly. So what we're not going to do is create, kind of like this person did here, a bunch of just uniform coils that just go right over the top of one another, and there's nothing until, you know, you find one of these little ball things, or one of these. You're going to actually use coils to wrap around and over things. Trice, I know we talked about things, so you can disregard what I just said. Depending on what your sketch is, like we'll work with you to make your sketch happen, because we want your designs to be yours and not just something that we can come up with. But for the most part, like you're going to be moving like the coils in and around one another, looping them together around each other. So you need to include, you need to build 12 inches tall. You need to have a lip, a neck, a shoulder, a body, and a foot. What I mean by that is this part here has a foot, and it kind of tapers down to this ledge here. And then there's this body part here, and then the shoulders are its widest point at the top. This one has shoulders that the neck's really long, and then the shoulders are starting there. And then it has a neck that, you know, funnels in just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it does need to have a neck. It could be squatty like this or really tall like that one. And then it needs to have a lip, and your lip should be pretty smooth or at least uniformed. If you decide to have kind of a wavy lip, use good craftsmanship, you know. And for the most part, you guys do a really good job of that. Since it's going to be 12 inches tall, we need to think about the thickness and thinness of our coils. So before we really get started today, I'm going to have you guys practice making coils. Just kind of, I've tapered a coil, but what I want you to do instead of creating a tapered coil like this one is to roll out an even thickness coil, and it's going to be about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch thick. It can be a little thinner than a 1/4 inch, but 1/4 inch is stable, and you'll have more successful coils if you keep them around a 1/4 inch. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of squeezing roughly into kind of this even-ish tube, and you're going to use a spray bottle a lot. So you and your classmates need to, you know, keep an eye on the spray bottle. Is it filled up at the end of your class? You know, is the next class going to be able to use it in the mornings without having to constantly be filling up and cleaning up after you guys? You can use a light hand, and you're just going to roll back and forth. I know a lot of you guys made coils for your boxes or to add a little bit of height with your pinch pot project, but this is entirely coil based, and so I figured we would just do a quick reminder and practice for those of us who have not done it before. I am not going really fast like with my fingers there, because then I'm going to get a flat bottom. I'm moving quickly because we don't have a lot of time in this class, and I'm applying pressure from the middle, and I'm working it towards the outer edges. I'm going from here to here in my hands, making sure that my coils are even all the way through. I'm applying even pressure. The middle's getting a little thinner than the outside, so I'm going to, you know, spend a little time on the outer edges. This coil's too thick as it is, so I'm just going to keep thinning it out. If it gets too long to work with, you can just break it off. Mine was getting a little obnoxious. like to flip it over so that I know that I'm applying that even pressure all the way around. And that's a pretty even coil. It's not perfect. As you work, keep spraying your coils so that they don't break and crack. You're going to be using that spray bottle like it's your job. So before we get started explaining the rest of it, I'm going to have you guys go ahead and practice making some coils. So take a chunk back to your table. You don't need to make huge long coils. Just practice making 1 or 2 coils. Should be in. Take that to your table. There's some at your table. The other thing is my hands. You want your hands to be kind of tacky. By the time that you're done with this, your hands are going to be kind of tacky.
Those are always tacky.
Jam hands.
What?
Jam hands.
I hate you.
Jam hands do little sticky tacky.
Oh no,
I
have one.
And they're small. And they're sweaty. That'll make a difference.
No, my hands are always dry. I wash dishes.
My
hands are extremely dry. Yeah, I know what I'm saying. I could these are drier than some hair does.
Okay, so what you were doing is you were going like this. So what you need to do is make light movements, working the outside, and that'll help. And it won't give you a flat side. Okay. Just 1 or 2 people at every table are having this flat sides. Remember to use light hands. If you try to put a lot of pressure right at first, it's going to just create a flat bottom and that you won't be able to get rid of very easily. So that'll save you some frustration just by starting light and then working all the way out. Some of you guys did smaller coils, and that's actually really good because you're building an entire foot tall of something. And so if you're using these huge 1-inch coils, that is going to be the heaviest thing because we're doing exposed coils and we're not blending the outside together so that you can thin it out. So whatever you apply will mostly be there. We're going to loop the inside together so that it's smooth like this one. This one's kind of rough and we're not going to praise that person for their work because it's kind of spotty. But the inside of this is going to be nice and smooth. So you'll only lose the clay that you loop together on the inside. You won't actually lose the outer surface area. So coil pottery actually has been around for a long time. People in Greece have done it. Different Native American tribes have used it for different things. And so it's pretty, a universal practice for coil pottery. So fun fact for you about coil pottery history. Also, the Greek goddess Athena. Does anyone know anything about Greek mythology? Yeah.
They've gotten tattoos.
Do you know what Athena is known for?
Wisdom and craftsmanship.
Craftsmanship, yeah. She's also the patron goddess of practical good things. I think is what.
Her mother was the patron goddess of common wisdom.
Yeah. So, Greek potters would be like, oh, Athena, please bless our pottery, and they, I don't know, they thought that was how you became a successful potter. I took Latin class in high school, and we talked a lot about Greek and Roman mythology. I thought it was interesting. Anyway, enough about Athena. So, like I said, we already have this kind of started. What you need to do first, before you do anything, is to decide what your base is going to look like. You can have a symmetrical, perfect circle. You can use the lids as a stencil, or you can have this really organic shape. Maybe it'll look kind of beanie. Maybe it'll look kind of just organic, not symmetrical shape at all. And that's fine. Whatever you decide on for your base is cool. Just make sure that you include a foot. So your goal for this entire, for the duration of this this technique, I guess, is to score and slip everything. You need to make sure that your slip is constantly a good consistency. This slip is maybe even a little too thick. So just keep applying water, keep scraping the sides, and mixing that slip back up together. We're going to go through a lot of slip in the next couple of weeks. So do your part to kind of, you know, keep on top of it. You're going to score and slip everything. Everything. So right now I'm just going to score and slip right around the perimeter of the base here. And then I'm going to like attack this. You do want to be careful that you're only slipping or scoring one side though. With this, with the pinch pots, like, it was okay to have some pretty nasty gashes in your coils and stuff, but you'll need to be cleaning them up and then keeping your craftsmanship up for the duration of this project. Or at the end, you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. I'm making sure that it's like pretty squished down on there, while I'm also like maintaining the shape of this coil here. I'm just going to use my fingers, or you can use the knives or other cutting tools to attach them together. 75% of your vessel needs to be like interesting coils. You can have some that just are straight across, and that's okay. That can make for a good little break for your eye, just like a visual rest. But you also need to have, you know, 75% should be like coils that are doing something interesting or showing expression. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just building up some very basic coils until I get to a spot where I can actually start using interesting coils, and it like adds some height. As I'm building this portion here, I'm trying to figure out which, like, these are all one thickness, and so I'm also looking for the same thickness. That tapers, so I'm going to cut that off. I'm just going to use this to add one more coil, because 2 is kind of a weird number. I prefer odd numbers like 3, 5. 7 gets kind of weird. 9's kind of weird. 13, I kind of like number 13. As you build also, like, what do you think, if I'm thinking about creating a smaller opening at the top, where do I need to be placing my coils? On the inside or the outside of the coil beneath it? On the inside, yeah. And, you know, if I'm looking for a wider area, you're going to have to use the outside in order to get that width that you're looking for. Before I start adding more interesting things, I'm going to go back through, I'm going to clean this stuff up, showing really good craftsmanship. If you're a perfectionist, you know, pottery comes in stages, but this might be probably your favorite technique, just because there is a lot of cleanup that goes on during the whole time, and so you can kind of see how it's going to look towards the end, like more at the beginning, whereas like with your pinch pots, like it was kind of messy at first, you know, and then towards the end, like you started doing a lot of cleanup work. Not so with coiling. Also, as I build, I'm going to be luting them together on the inside. You can also build on, like, you know, arrange, you can score and slip them together on here and then build it up, but some of you will find that really frustrating. When it comes to these things, you should probably like make them on the canvas first, and then score and slip them once they become a little more hard. Anywhere that another piece of clay is going to be touching, especially whenever they're different drynesses, you need to score and slip. I've done a twist here, and I'll show you how you can do that with these really thin ones. The twist can add some interest, but it also adds a little bit of negative space. Like you'll see a little bit of light come through. Your pots don't have to be super functional. They can be more decorative if you want, and that can be exciting. So I'm just going to hold one stationary, and I'm going to twist them. And then you just pinch them together. This one here, I kind of tapered the edge so that I can blend it nicely into this little nook here. I'll start one here, and I'll bring it up and around and over. Any questions? Good. So, if you have finished, you can go ahead and get started with this next project. If you want to look at this some more and get some better ideas, you can grab a piece of paper over by the water bottle on the table. If you have not finished your coil pod project, finish it up and then go and put it over on the table. There's a spot marked 6th period, so you can go ahead and get started.